I mean, if I level this person up, could I use them in this fight, you reckon?
야음을 틈타.
Oh, wait, no, I gotta sit here for like 3 years and killing the minions.
Yeah, man.
Wait, if I defend the attack that like makes him die, like makes him end himself,
Yeah, defend her.
does it? Do they
It's
still
still
die?
gonna.
Mr.
They'll
What now?
still die. You will still take damage because
What
fly
if it's a
damage.
clashable one?
It's an unclashable thing. Defend her.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm just skipping that.
But I don't think you can actually defend it. Because no matter what.
Wait, isn't it fixed damage?
It's fixed damage, plus if they do hit you, they also do a little bit of actual damage.
Oh, okay. So I should just defend those, I guess. You're going to die?
OBS, what do you mean my bitrate is fucking head?
I feel like Gregor always sells me.
He's no.
Before, like, I used the Rupture guys, I don't think I, like, ever used Gregor in my team.
I mean, he has some of it.
He
Not so
always
much
just
now.
seemed like a kind of meh character, like, with IDs.
Yeah.
Faust feels like they get a lot of good ones,
Yeah, Faust gets a lot of very good ideas.
like the multi-crack and the,
Multi-crack, N-Corp, Malfaust, LCD, Faust.
목을 콱 물어버리자고.
Let me just go through every Faust, because... Okay, Wolf Faust would be decent. N-Corp Faust, goated.
wait, I actually got staggered?
Regret Faust, goated. Red Lineage,
Oh,
Multi-crack, good. Oh yeah,
well,
if you get
Don's
staggered.
just cooked.
Yeah, Don's gonna get shot.
I'm not doing that. Okay. So I'm just gonna try and kill them. Boom, 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 boom. So annoying that you can't have 7.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Jesus Christ.
Let me skip the cutscene. Wheel.
The wheel.
Okay. Oh, that's a lag. Boom.
Wow.
Boom.
I should say now I have a... Yeah, I didn't think this was a game either until they said, no, money. Now the money helps me. Although my OBS crashes every 4 seconds. I'll tell that's because I am stupid searching my files to make status. Hello, is I think it's a gacha game plus like Clash of Clans, kind of. It's a terrible game. With limits. One of the limits.
When you use a defense over a skill 3, it gets rid of the skill 3, right?
Yeah, if you use a defense instead of an actual.
I might as well use it now.
목을 콱 물어버리자고. 불쌍하게 울고주는
That bad? Pretty decent. Yeah. My amulet,
그림자 속으로 가라앉게.
but it's still a good game.
I always find it so satisfying when they activate the
The reuse.
Death Riot Haze.
And the reuse. Both are amazing. Question is if the link is gone. Every time anything on the screen excites the game, it tweaks and tells me, no. Like, oh no.
There's no way Faust got back-to-back,
Let's
skill
go back to
trees.
back.
It's actually kind of good. Not more of them. He just gave himself 15 rupture.
Right.
Like, it's good that they give us like a little setup period.
Yeah. They give it a period of like 5 minutes. Just the game. There you go. Several candidates.
Yeah, I was actually excited to listen to the music because apparently everyone says it's peak, and so far it's pretty good.
With the music,
Really,
some
bro,
of
you
the
gotta dodge
time,
everything.
sometimes with the music, it will actually like tell a story, which is amazing.
Yeah,
Actually, the old
I
tools.
feel like that's with most.
Yeah.
Alright, these are
Most
all.
different. Most, if not every song, has a story behind it. Like, Kingdom 4 has a story behind it. Kingdom 5-1 is heavily story. The whole song is about compass.
Yeah.
Your own intent.
Oh my god, the compass, the compass.
The compass, guys. I'm curious about compasses.
Oh, really, bro? Ow. No, you stag it.
The pain of stable.
Bro. It's so, kind of annoying that they just get a guaranteed 10 damage.
There is probably my favorite song from Compass. Compass being said
And it's
is
a
a
bonus as
valid
well.
opinion.
Well, let's just see how much damage it does.
It should do that. Oh, with that one. Couldn't do that much. It's a lot, but if he didn't hit a single coin.
Oh, so the entire health bar. Okay.
Most of it, not the entire.
Oh my. Oh wait, they are weak as hell.
Yeah, the gondolas have like no health. As long as you kill them, they'll phase them. Yeah, the fact there is a playable clock in a game where you can also control the villain and superheroes with beyond godlike powers is hilarious. Especially when there's two of them. If I scroll down, you can literally
What is
play as
that
a bug.
range, Gregor?
There's just bugs, and then go one up to get superheroes. It's hilarious.
Okay, this is recoverable.
You can
No one's
Remember
staggered.
score. Who else? You. Oh, all the epic units in literally just... Yes, every epic unit is either a generic bug or a cop. And then all the superheroes, like the rare ones, like legendary or mythic. It's hilarious. Go down. Got a bug, a bug, 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 bug. Then we have a superhero, the legendary. We go up, we have 2 cops. It's hilarious.
Oh wait, if I just kill them with the first part of my Honglu skill 3, does it still give me the buff for the like the contamination?
If you kill something with the skill 3 of Honglu, and then you do get the buff because it will go to the just next enemy. And if there's no enemies, I'm pretty sure.
If there's no enemies, what?
If you kill the first enemy with the slam from his skill 3, and there's no
What if I
other
went to a
enemies...
cutscene?
Oh. I actually think he gets the buff from the combo, if I'm correct.
No, I'm gonna skip this. I've already seen you before.
Yeah, he gets the buff from the combo attack after he finishes it.
Yeah,
so
so
the
I can't
cops
really...
choose from enemies
Yeah, I didn't get
continues?
nothing.
Yes. They will choose it. So the cops are
Yeah, I'm not
choosing,
taking no risk.
everyone else is on crack. Oh, that part of the song is just so big. High chance I'm getting copyright. Who cares? Copyright isn't a thing.
Bro, these guys are always so slow, man.
The high show, or the C.
The C.
Yeah. Well, compared to the other ones, which are literally made to have haste.
It's such a pain. Oh wait, I'm guaranteed.
Oh my god, yes, a crackhead outboxing Batman would be hilarious, and I can totally see it. Detroit crackheads do be built different. Great. They are just superior life forms.
Wait, can you lose the clash if it's like this? If it's an offset?
Yes. But an
Okay,
offset,
so
no.
it's-
If it doesn't say it's clashing, if it's an offset, it won't use that. Although if it's combat
Okay,
style or
okay.
something, it's still gonna...
I hope you win this clash.
Does
You
the
did win it, let's go.
combat style, there's no backup units, blah blah blah. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Okay, so you should give the
Otis
buff.
is definitely staggering. But since the music is playing, I didn't even hear any noise, it's just a random beam of light.
Yeah.
Please, yeah, there's definitely gonna be a stagger for Otis, I reckon.
Yeah, the unbreakable coin will always end in the stagger.
That's the thing I've hated about this Kanto, is just the amount of unbreakable coins that have
Well,
been
this is
pissing me
the
off.
first Kanto that they put unbreakable coins.
It's just like guaranteed, it's like a race no matter what.
The real question is who would win between Detroit Crackhead and Gotham Crackhead.
Like, I literally won most of the clashes, but 4 people to get staggered still. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
But now I just lose.
Goofy. I would say Gotham. They run up with Batman compared to Detroit Crackheads who just run up with like the cops. I can
Okay,
agree.
I'm going to swap Gregor for Ryoshu. Because I
They
do not care
introduce
anymore. I'm
Unbreakable
going to...
coins, and they also overdo Unbreakable coins. But then the next one they do decent. Just like the end of an attack
야음을 틈타.
compared to the entire attack. Holy. Don't need like 16 unbreakable coins on one attack.
Yeah.
산출. 이 관람차.
Mm.
전쟁도 없지.
Back to these guys. Yippee.
Random Kendo 7 jump scare.
Ooh. Don't mind if I do.
I just don't want to bring from a shot.
Wait, why'd I put 3 on 1? Oh my god.
I mean, overkill is better than underkill.
토끼를 보내.
Unless you just one-shot them with skill 3.
묘야. 길을 열라.
It's crazy the difference Ryoshu makes, like, compared to having 4 high shows and having 5. I guess Ryoshu is just, like, really good because, like, she does a lot of potency.
Also because with the buff, he gets, at 5 stacks, he gives damage up and offense up to every high show. And he
Yeah.
gets 5 stacks instead.
Can't really do that with this. Because Don.
I do agree, the unbreakable coins are like, they're annoying, but doesn't really mind. I don't mind them. They're there.
It's just
Relentless.
annoying the fact that it's like you win the clash, but you still take like infinite damage.
Yeah. There's another fight that was like that until they literally had to add a conditional where it's like, if unbreakable coins are cracked, it will lose like 80% damage.
Yeah, because it's like it's fine. I don't mind them if it's like 1 unbreakable coin with like 4 coins. Like a 4 coin attack with 1 unbreakable coin.
Yeah.
But when the whole attack is unbreakable coins, it's just like kind of stupid.
Exactly. It's crazy when it's like the
there's no
whole attack is
punishment.
just unbreakable.
It's just like no punishment at all for like losing. Oh wait, retreat order. Oh,
Oh yeah, I brought it back up.
I broke Gregor. Well, who will it be? Ryoshu? Oh no, Otis.
I don't know.
Well, don't they heal?
It's whoever has the lowest health. They will
Yeah,
then heal
but-
upon retreating, and whoever retreated in will against a random. Okay, wait. Next turn, it's gonna make whoever comes on do a random skill 3 on a random enemy.
이번에도 막을 수.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Also, if it's Gia Ishmael, it's just gonna hit everyone. So like,
Oh, wait, I don't have Gia because they're
Sure.
way underleveled. Well, I have them, but they're underleveled.
well, whoever just came on is gonna
No one
assault
came on
something.
yet. Wait, does it not work for this fight?
Oh, yeah, it's upon use.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The
I
retreat
actually
thing-
somehow forgot that.
You know, since season 6 is rupture focus, how likely is it going to be season 7 is burn? That's a fair thing. Have we had a burn counter yet? Looking at the banners.
Oh yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like the other day, I was like, okay, it wasn't like
With each
Heath was
counter,
like stinking.
kind of focused on something.
숨통 끊기.
Okay, if we go down, we have this one is mainly rupture. Season 1 existed. Season 2 seems very mixed match. Because it's mainly fully ideal. Season 3 was a very decent amount of boys. I see a really decent amount of boys. Season 4, of course, is sinking. Season 5 was entirely bleed. And this is Rockville. So we haven't had burn. Actually, no, charge would also be amazing. Because like charge is not.
Because usually each season, doesn't it like release, like obviously I know it does one certain thing, but doesn't that just usually make it really overpowered, that certain? Bro, no!
Rip. Damn, 2 of them.
Bro. This boss is not very nice.
Because, okay, well, let's go for every stats effect. Just think of which of which. I don't think we've had Tremor yet, but that's 100% going to be Assault. Burn would be a good one. Charge would also be pretty good. You could bring Ishmael as backup. And then if she dies, she dies. Because then whoever comes back on will do a skill for you. Because it's high show. God, kind of niche compared to every other. I'm gonna shot at these as far as possible. Good job. Yeah, you got a damn fat point. There's like barely even 2 rows when you're on the wiki. And then egos, there's like and then a couple of unique shots. Shit
So I like rarely used his Honglu's new ego.
Yeah, Magical Girl, Dawn, and the both have Ghost.
I used it once and it did like 100 damage, but then the other time I used it, it did 686 damage.
I mean, okay. Wait, you have Ward of Hongyun. Just use it immediately. Whenever you can, just use the normal version. Don't like overclock. And then you just have. It will slowly kill him, but then when it does do its final end thing, it's just gonna like not kill him. But use it like this time.
And it heals him to 100. I usually wait though till I'm like around like half or like 60%.
It also gives you unbreakable coins, so like.
And increases your damage a lot.
Okay, it makes all of your coins on the leftmost side, it pretty much only have one slot this side. Unbreakable gives 2 offense up and 2 defense up. Yeah, 3 of them you get punish, you turn to get 1. Blah 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 blah. You're gonna die, don't die, use the end.
And for Hongwan, it makes it so he heals 100 and something health.
Yeah, he heals like,
after he...
I think it's 60%, 70%. I've had Magical Girl Don's ego to 600 during friendly fire incident. I usually hit 300. Yeah, the friendly fire does a lot. Like, too much. Don't get to hit everyone in the team. One. Hit the entire team and more.
Should I even really be focusing these people? Because I have 122 gloom. Oh, is that gloom? No,
122 gluttony.
I have a little bit of gluttony.
Jesus.
So
Okay.
should I even bother fighting? Because isn't
Yes.
this like buff for them?
It's kind of hard for an ego to use, considering medical diagnosis versus normal to tweaking. Yeah, that one. He like spins around, having every possible evil stats effect. What stats effect? Like that. Makes sense. Oh yeah, I'll flick between versions with like, bro, how am I meant to use the ego? If first turn you're either negative or positive.
길을 보내라. 저 충들을 도려내라. 묘야, 길을 열어라.
I just gotta like lock in.
Yeah. That's what.
Because I'm just scared that they're gonna just instantly stagger me this time around. Because I don't know how low they are to stagger. Oh, that's unbreakable. Love that.
I mean, if you stagger them first, then they can't do it.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to do. But I'm doing such little damage. God damn.
It's better to kill the gondolas, since the gondolas are what changes the phase. Compared to
What?
the gondolas change the phase, because when he runs out of gondolas, he
Oh, so that is the
phase
reason.
change.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was awesome. Yeah, I was like, what's the point of them? Because I have enough.
At least I'm pretty sure he changes phase when it's that. I don't remember exactly. I'll check the rules. I love watching the frame decrease when I hold down a button. Game loves me.
Please.
This guy.
Already on skill 3 is so satisfying for some reason.
Oh, it is. It's.
I think it's just because it hits like
is
everything.
the most optimized of all time. Exactly. This is so beautiful. Now I watch a guy walking down a forest. One, two, three, four.
Wait, oh crap. I'm stupid.
No, that's a liquid one.
I should have left Hong loose alone so that way it can actually activate the combo. Oh wait, it still might. Yeah, I think it will.
Yeah, I'll still do this
저
one.
해충들을 도려내라.
Which is
scared
actually
that
good
it
because it
wants
might
to-
kill one's gondolas.
God damn!
Exactly. And then it's gonna do another one on the gondola.
길을 열어라.
That's what we're talking
Yeah, that's what I like
about.
because usually whenever there's like attacks like that so far, oh, say goodbye to Ready on skill 3. Usually when there's attacks like that, it doesn't keep going after you kill someone. Okay, well, someone's probably gonna stagger here.
이번에도 막을 수
How many gondolas do you got, bro?
Got 7. But if you fail to kill one, he'll just like save it. Which is annoying.
Bro, there's... Actually, I'll use that so that way I can build Rupture straight away. Boom, boom. Yeah, not surviving this.
가치 없군. 죽어라.
I'm skipping the dialogue. Spoilers! Ah, spoilers! Rob!
Oh,
Chimichanga.
spoiler.
Answer them. Happy spoilers.
Oh, okay. I just can't look at your stream either. Okay.
No, you can look at my
That's not
stream
cool.
unless you. I mean, you don't know what's happening.
오랜만에 발끝.
Technically.
That's
Yeah,
still
but-
spoilers though.
Yeah,
Yeah, but wait, but who's Kanto? Wait, who's Kanto?
it's a Don, so yeah.
Oh no, I don't.
The text is too small. You can't read it.
Yeah, this is still happening.
It's still half of your
He
screen.
really does love the gondolas.
Ah, la, 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 ah, la, la.
I'm just gonna-
Boom! Do that attack, and then me do that attack. Oh, got him.
He has an addiction to
The
gondolas.
hell? I can actually kind of cook.
He needs to be taking a gondola rehab.
목을 콱 물어버리자고.
Hell yeah, I'm kind of cooking. Never mind, goddamn. Okay, well here is where everyone just staggers because stupid. Like, look at that. That attack is insane.
And then still rolls. I mean, no, it might be fine.
Wait, what? Oh no, there it is.
One stagger. That wasn't that much.
Yeah, but there's another one. I'm pretty sure.
Hunty. Oh, he left. Blood ran away from us.
Nah, spoilers.
You know what you should really do, Fish Kyoto?
Yes.
Like,
Check W place.
bro,
Which
this is
part
not
W
going
plays?
too good, guys.
Like, wait, hold up. Let me
I'm
verify.
playing Risk of Rain.
I'm gooning.
I'm streaming.
I'm actually so
Really
peaked at
clashed,
Risk of
I
Rain.
clashed
saying
everything,
the
yet I
difficulty
still
is
get
like
3
vertical,
staggered
moving
people.
more
Like,
Yo, Lucas,
Oh, yeah.
we should try and get Thomas to play Risk of Rain.
what is...
The drawing I did.
Fine,
Looks
meta.
so goofy,
Where
man.
am I?
Bro, this
Wait,
shit is
this actually
stupid.
dead ass pretty beautiful right now, bro.
Fish Kyoto, you should totally click the link I sent.
1 second.
Do not click the link press and send. Do not.
I'm scared. No.
And that's coming from me, bro. The freak. Why am I levitating?
Oh god.
Risk
Wait,
of
so
Rain is
what do I
actually so
do
peak.
here? Wait,
Jesus
what do I do here?
Christ.
He has 7 skill slots, and on the first turn, I clashed everything correctly, yet he still just staggers me 3 times.
Can't believe I used to hate on Risk of Rain too.
Oh god. Okay, but to clash the actual skills, you can probably ignore the defense skills. Because they won't
Clash
hit
the
you.
what?
There's a magma worm. Ooh.
Clash... Oh, what's the first two? First two? Jesus fucking Christ. I think eagling with them is the best option.
Mushroom.
I concede.
This is also, yeah.
Marcus,
Wait, actually...
Preston, have you conceived?
Oh, what the hell? Oh, you got a lot of... Should I use any one in specific here?
I mean...
This drawing I've drawn on W plates just looks so
How much speed
retarded,
does
bro.
he have? Check how much speed
Preston,
he
you
has.
are restarted,
I
bro.
want to see if he...
Wait, what'd you say?
What
Check
the
how much
fuck?
speed the boss has. Because you could do red eyes open. Yeah, do red eyes open. Because it gets point power. Watching a stream of DC game with Limbus gameplay in the background is a fever dream. Exactly. Put on your back.
Hey, Lucas.
We switch in and out of the Limbus jump scares.
Wait,
Wait, what if I do it this way?
I know what. Wait, I recognize that art.
Then
Okay,
these
that
2
can work.
is...
Those two are... Okay. Fuck.
I recognize the art.
You might want to clash those instead.
What are these
Should
big
I
yellow lizards
move
chasing me,
this
bro?
to here?
Because they have a funny called
Oh,
deal
would this
20%
be-
of your health.
Would this be worse, or... Which one?
The impale... Both the impales.
I've been
so
playing
actually
Risk of
clash-
Rain
Yellow
while
would be
listening to
worse, and
Johnny
then...
Cash.
Then red. I
I
think
fucking love Johnny Cash.
The blue one is gonna be annoying as, but can't really avoid it.
Do I do that?
Use both the... Cover all of the yellow and red. Because they will definitely do it.
Oh, so just ignore the 2 dark blues.
The first 2 are gonna be really bitchy and do a... Oh, wait, never mind. Oh, fuck. You're in a bad position.
Yeah, because stupid unbreakable coins. Anyway, should I just do this? Leave
Do it
one
on,
red and leave...
do on the yellow.
Okay.
Okay, wait, who is...
Okay.
Oh, never mind. Both of them are hitting Dawn.
Does Don
Never mind,
have
one
invincibility?
One is not hitting Dawn. Flash the one that's not hitting Dawn and see if the other one is hitting Dawn.
This, wait.
Flash accordingly. If it's going to it somewhere.
Does Don have immunity, I'm assuming? Also, this is good.
Partially, yeah. Yeah, she has
Okay.
a good enough amount of immunity. Okay, as long as nothing is hitting the alive people, and if it's all hitting Dawn, you're good. I know, crazy line. Kill on. Yeah, like that. Because
So
the blue
only
ones...
this and this.
Because the blue ones have attack weight, and then all the ones hitting Dawn don't have attack weight.
Okay.
흑승려 뒷박질 중.
Oh wait, it's unbreakable coins, so I'm just screwed anyway.
You're less screwed.
여행에는
Because breaking the unbreakable is
Like,
bad.
I feel like, yeah, I know it's breaking it, but even when I break it, it still does 3,000 damage to everyone.
Yeah. But with that one, the unbreakable coins is only 2. Compared to the other one that was like 4.
SP healing, guys, let's go.
SP healing is actually good in this scenario.
Yeah, but, oh. Don't think it's gonna matter when everyone's staggered though. Especially since Ryoshi's staggered, so it's just GG.
Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus Christ.
What?
Yeah, that's the fun part about being impaled. They turn into a literal impalement.
I just constantly just have 3 people staggered.
Wait. W streams? Oh god. I need to check something.
I think I should just restart.
Yeah, maybe. Because there's... I'm praying to God, I'm praying to God. Does... If they get turned into the funny...
Oh wait, was I meant to...
I'm trying to check to see if the... Can the impaling spirit kill the person? If this unit is not blah 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 blah, you will be limited blah blah blah.
필두 출진.
Killed by blah blah. Whoop. I'm concerned. This feels like a fever dream. It is. This is a fever dream. Now we turn off the windows room for a second to see if that will make it the thingy happen.
불가
시비수에게 명하여
막아내지는
이 앞에 숨쉬는 자
Can
하나 살려보내지 마라.
이 거리면 충분해. 너한텐 조금 멀겠지만.
I think I'm tweaking. I've forgotten how to read. Olympus
Bro, the
found.
starting Sandy is actually like cooking me right now. If I
Yeah.
failed this clash, okay.
I would have a very good solution.
Is
for
that you
you.
got some time on your hands?
Maybe?
Can you explain subcell notations in less than 3 minutes?
To you or me?
To me, because I completely forgot how to do it. Because there's obviously 1s2, 2s2, right? But then it's 2p6, which confused me because shouldn't 2 be 2p 2s8
Do you have the
instead of
worksheet?
2s? Yeah. No, maybe. I don't know. I have the test, which that's what I'm going off.
What? Oh. What's... Oh my god, I'm talking. Let me just get up the worksheet.
I want to quickly reset the timer.
Oh, you're literally timing me.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay, the timer has been reset.
Okay,
It's the Discord timer, so after 3 minutes, someone gets kicked out of the call.
No. Where are you?
또 한 번 막아내.
I'm gonna send you a video.
Yeah.
When I say the ads, location even more people. Damn. See this?
Okay, so I know the 1S blocks, right?
Yeah.
When you're going past them, it's 1, 2. That'll be 1S2.
Yeah.
Right?
And
But
then
what? So
2S2
okay,
is a thing.
okay. Never mind. I've gone what I was thinking of. So
Yeah.
it's lines. My
Yeah,
bad.
it's lines. Although the 3D is just, I don't know why it's fucking like that. It hates me.
Yeah. That's probably the part that confused me. Anyway, thank you, Zephyr.
I do.
Thank you very much.
The school? Oh my god, guys. I don't think I got to do the school in a long time.
Oh no.
Oh, fucked up. The school. The school. They're all together. They're everywhere. The school. I love the school. It's my favorite. I don't know how long I'm gonna do this for. Girl, we're sticking the gameplay over this. Game play.
토끼를
We're sticking the gameplay. We need gameplay. Food.
I'm doing no goddamn damage.
We're sticking gameplay over this. Insert gift of previous being replaced by taunt.
숨통 끊기.
We're doing this again. I could not do all that. When is it gonna tell me? It's the thingy. Speed hits me. Come on, tell me I've done my 2 hours. It's been 2 hours. Play. Maybe I move it slowly. Yeah. Moving it slowly is 100% gonna fix it. Actually, I should download Dawn Sweepers. I'm gonna download the Dawn Sweepers.
놀랐어?
Jesus Christ, what died? I need to find the Dawn Sweepers. I need to find them.
전기
Okay, after I've dinner, but be like, I'll leave this fire on, but I won't be doing it.
Okay, they had to go. They had to. I feel like Don would be the most problematic of the sinners to get cloned. Oh God. I can imagine that, and it hurts to think that that could happen. Okay, now if I put browser and I put browser 4, yeah, guys, I know I'm missing, and I put in the URL for the link. Is it good? It's the. Okay, that's okay. Okay. Oh wait, never mind. I have an idea. It might be working. Okay, so we remove whatever that was. Put in image. And then put the image as this. Yes! It's perfect! This is the new sinners. Input Don Quixote's. I think Virgilius would lose his very little remaining will to live if he had to deal with more than one Don. I feel like he already lost that will to live. Like, a while ago. Wait, guys. Guys, the sponsor's over. The sponsor's over. I'm free! We're playing Olympus! We're booting up my Olympus. And praying to God. It doesn't skits. Turn that off. Change this to Limbus Company. And now fix the ratio. Okay, it's gonna say, if I remember correctly, that I somehow don't have the game fully downloaded, which is a lie. I played, yeah, we mean 2 more gigabytes. Oh my God, you have a point. 1,000 Dons is just 1,000 Sanchos. That hurts to think. I'm gonna be deeply concerned. My Olympus is not there. Anyways, omelette. I'm gonna boot up my Olympus. There it is. Go. Huh. And then probably on stream and raid someone playing Olympus. God help whoever is of 1,000 Dons. They all collectively decide to take off their shoes. Jesus Christ. No one can save whoever does that. The collective 9 bajillion shoes coming off would be terrifying. So we're gonna check to see if my Limbus exists. If it does, we find a Limbus person. Categories you might like. I don't see any Limbus. Oh, my chest. Speaking of Sancho, I wonder if Don's Mirror World variants become Sancho. That is a valid thought. More specifically, does every Mirror World Don have Roshinante on? Because if they do, epic. If they don't, That's a question to behold. Real question is, can we find one that... Okay, Shidon has them on. Right, N-Corp. N-Corp might have them on. They're wearing heavy armor, I can't tell. Okay. Meat Lantern has them on. Does Blade have them on? Blade has them on. Does W have them on? Because I don't know what would be worse. A Sancho with N-Corp fanaticism or N... Oh my god, Sancho in the fit? Why does W Corp have weirder looking shoes? It's Roshinante, but it's like weirder looking. Like they go way higher. Think has them on, but does the middle. Yes. But does the T-Corp? Yes, over the armor. That's kind of funny. Now the real question. Guys, who would have guessed? There's a possibility that Roshinante just looks different depending on the mirror? No, I've looked at most of the sprites now. Seems like they're all wearing it. Weirdly. And then of course Manager is not. Because, you know, why would she? Even other Sync has them on. And so does Magical Girl, that's... Up! One second, I'm killing this monster. Taking that back. Boom! Shut down this monster. Manager Aureus Sancho. Exactly. It's the only ID that is not wearing them Nikes. God. Oh my god, Manager was released last year. Oh god. That hurts to think about. Damn. Oh. Now we just pray my Limbus works. Evil Scissors of Doom. Now the real question is, do the egos have it on? The answer is no. I can't believe I'm saying this. Most of the Don egos don't have them on. Now I wonder how strong an unnerved Sancho would be, since all the sinners are basically nerfed. Okay, logically speaking, the contract affects all of them. Which means, if Sancho's unnerfed, then they equally go up to near her power level. Unless she's no longer part of the contract. Then we get concerned. Deeply concerned. Limbus. Please tell me it didn't die. Yep. Okay, I don't know why I downloaded like the entirety of it. There should be a time. He's doing a lot to keep Sancho from achieving it. Exactly. Now we beat up Timer with a team Case in point. We have him assaulted. Take that. First Duking crit. Let it go. Up, down. Now we take this team of soft.
총은 수지 타산에 맞게
God, if I can
한 발에 한 놈씩.
비록 함께 전장에 나서는 건 아니지만
First turn, you say.
저희를 이끌어주는 건 단테님만 할 수 있는 일이에요. 이번에도 분명 원하시는 길로 저희를 잘 이끌어주시겠죠.
토끼를 본다. 전탄격발.
The fog of doom and despair.
수들을 도려내라. 덕분에 위험한 순간도 묘해져. 길을 열어라.
Damn.
그렇게 시원하게 처리해. 혼나시는군.
병력을 불각성자는 테스트를 세우는 것이 답합니다.
의심, 암귀, 불안과 공포 그런 것들이 들끓을 때가 가장 취약하죠. 알아듣겠습니까? 지금은 적기라는 것입니다.
Green.
받아볼 텐가. 시비수에게 명한다. 이야, 그간의 전투 경험이 쓸모가 없진 않았군요. 근데 적합한
Well, what the fuck goes down?
다들 첫 여정을 시작했을 때보다 정말 강해지셨네요. 매일 모아온 건 아닐 텐데 지금은 감회가 새로워요. 아, 여기서 이런 공격이 잘 먹힌다면요?
차포잡이야. 예상한 것보다 움직임이 더 좋구나.
Right. Okay, it's on passives. Magic even. Very high.
간단한 명령입니다.
Fire station.
총은 수지 타산에 맞게 한
The
발에
Gregor and
한
Rhodia
놈씩.
have stretchy arms is kind of funny. It's really funny.
언제나 썩지 않았고 때로는 어설펐지만 여러분과 함께하는 여행은 늘 제 마음을 설레게
Hit
만들었던
them for a second and couldn't see it.
그렇게 여기서 멈추고 싶지
But I find it funny how the stats effect is literally just stretchy arms. Constantly. Good enough. movement.
받아볼 텐가. 시비수에게 명한다. 이 안에 숨쉬는 자 누구 하나 살려보지 마라. 전탄격발. 확실히 훌륭하고 오버한 수감이자 덕분에 위험한
So Suburia is one of the
적이 많다.
one of your favorites? Fair enough. People like stretch it and reuse.
불같은 불은 흙을 태우는 것 같습니다.
예상 못했나봐. 의심, 암귀, 불안과 공포.
She's just really good even though I don't have
가장
other Haishin to go with it.
알아듣겠습니다.
Have you tried gambling on the Haishigan?
적기라는
Or
것입니다.
wait till we get the funny Uma sang? Then with Brother Faust now I think.
예상한 것보다 움직임이
길을
좋구나.
넌 숨을 처해.
You're gonna get Uma sang.
도려내라.
앞으로도 그렇게만 해주세요. 틈틈이
I have an idea.
지시게. 이제야 실력을 좀 내시네요.
길을 열어.
We're getting a PNG of Uma sang.
목을 떨궈주마. 고작 이 정도면 넌 푸름을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
Okay, it's now giving me an unbelievable amount of stuff just telling me I need to buy a Olympus cosplay. I have not, I want the Hong. Fair enough. I would say prioritize the Honglu. And then next update, go for Iggy Sang, Uma Sang.
아는 것을 모른 채 할 순 없으니.
We are Black Uma Sang.
이 경로는
He's fucking hot, that's my reason for pulling. I can't agree enough. Derek is mainly either told me he's not beautiful.
비슷한 느낌이네요. 아, 그러니까 어디가 비슷?
Especially because his voice changes
아,
from the
힘을
voice
얻은
lines.
분들 특유의 분위기가
Goes from like a light-ish tone to just Bilba, you.
명령에 따르겠습니다.
시비수에게 명한다. 이
The
앞에
amount of aura he has for all of his moves are just
살려보내지
beautiful.
마라.
Same with that. I have 10 billion spears and they're all going inside of your balls. Why is that good? Wait a minute.
한 점만 노린다.
Also, Lord Honolulu is not much of you Fair point.
그래. 그렇게
Just on the mention of that, I'm going to stare at every single sprite everything he has. That's a sword. That's fists. That's
답답한 법이지.
I think gauntlets? No, it has a spear edge. But he uses his spear.
본인이 방금 뭘 한 것인가? 엄청나게 강한 일격을!
The win rate though. Do not use fucking mouth Faust on a homeless guy. There's a little bit of it.
목을 떨궈주마. 넌 푸름을 틔울 수도
차포잡이라. 예상한 것보다 움직임도 좋구나.
다들 첫 여정을 시작했을 때보다 정말 강해지셨네요.
Oh no, no.
매일 좋아하는
깬치시
Uptime
이제야
eaters.
실력을 좀
The hell?
내시네요.
카메라
이러면 얼마나 좋습니까?
확실히 훌륭하군. 5번
I forgot I have Kurokuma Honolulu. I can't even sing a level 1 for at least 3 weeks. That's bad. Poor guy. Thought I'll be quickly go back to window. Because I'm stupid.
밤이 되면 눈이 치.
Because decades.
Hello there.
Oh,
Used to streaming the Limbo Company.
no
Lumber
spoilery stuff.
No, it must be. I should continue my mirror dungeon before it ends.
Yes.
Limbo's Company. I'm gonna show my screen so you can see. I don't know if I need that much help, but like, I don't know. I'll show it to you just because. But like, I believe I'm in I'm in a fight that's meant to be in Heathcliff's Kanto.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's something. What is
yeah. First it was Ishmael, then I was fucking them. I already forgot. No.
it? Quinto. Oh, well. How do you say him, but Ting Tang is just better? I've just scared by Ahab once during Mirror Dungeon last season. God, Ahab just scared.
Yeah, mirror dungeon time, baby. Resume. I am in a Heathcliff fight, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I've seen you do Heathcliff's Kanto.
Oh,
I saw you do it.
more attack wave? Oh, fuck.
I'm gonna get. Oh wow, I gotta reach my team. Boom bap,
In front.
bing, bam, bada bap boom. Pow. Yep. There I go. Boom, 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 boom. Cool.
Active.
It gets like guys in like bunny masks, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, I lied. I think I already beat that one. What the hell is this guy?
Oh.
Wayward passenger.
Oh, funny.
Oh, this guy like open up like portals or something like that.
Yeah, he's, I think in lore he was on Warp Train and then he gets stuff so hard he got Dimension Belt.
That's pretty swag.
않았고, 때로는 어설펐지만 여러분과 함께하는
Second
여행은
one.
늘 제 마음을 설레게
David. Okay, but what was this one? Dominating. Dominating.
좀 쉽지 않아요. 단테
That one. Go. Dominating. Oh. Oh. Look at that. Actually, no.
이럴 때도
Eh.
있죠.
Might as well.
Pretty sure Wayward Passenger's fed is better than the usual Warp Train passenger. Agreed. Oh, so. Yeah, the usual fed to the wrong place. Jesus Christ.
Bleed time. Once I. Damn. Okay, never mind. Oh, they do rupture?
5 billion of them.
Oh, wait.
Who will lose their coin?
Oh, fuck. A lot of them were neutral, so. Stab. Stab. 14 bleeds on the first hit. We love to see it. Bonk. I thought Don does Tremor.
이제야 실력을 좀 내시네요.
Tremor now.
Big Don. Yeah, Tremor now.
다들 첫 여정을 시작했을 때보다 정말 강해지셨네요. 매일 보아왔는데도 지금 감회가 새로워요.
I think that's the fucking portal things. Getting teleports like a wuss.
One my time and the other time.
Even. Oh yeah. On the right, no, I can just like one rate. It doesn't really matter. They're not gonna attack.
그렇게 시원하게 처리하니 보는 맛이 나는군. 일 처리를 크게 하는 편이 덜 답답한 거지.
Bonk, bonk, bonk.
Stab, stab.
괜히 먹을 것들을
Stab.
사들고 오는 것이 아닙니다.
Finally,
Yeah,
bonk.
now they're gonna actually do something, which is fine. Cause I'm just gonna win rate. That's fine. Fuck it. Win rate. Bonk.
Win rate.
Oh. Stab. Come on. There we go.
아는 것을 모른 채 할 순 없어.
Sounds it, you have.
This music's banging, actually.
Hell yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna use my ultimate move. Fuck you, all ego.
Every ego ever. I have the ego now.
It would be funny if you were able to have every single sinner on your team at once and you just use all the egos.
We're getting pretty damn close to that. Because we went from
Really?
like 5 sinners on field at one time to 6, and now it's the number after that.
I see what you're doing there. You don't want to say the word that people
I'm not saying the word.
No,
I'm not saying the word.
Say it.
6, 7.
I'm gonna. Oh my no! And fuck you, will bleed. Yabba dabba do.
And totally not. Couple hyper plus. Good result.
Time to bleed. Oh, hell yeah. Bleed and burn. The already hits. We love causing bleed with a move that doesn't cause bleed.
Exactly. Bleed on the enemy that don't bleed.
Bleed with the attack that doesn't cause bleed. It does, cause fuck you. Voila. I'm doing my melee dungeon. I'm just gonna meet the boss.
We're ever gonna do the story ever.
Well, I want more characters, okay? I'll get more characters and then I'll do this more story.
Maybe you should try getting a 3-star.
Shut up! You're stealing all of them!
I'll play the next event. Uma's saying this.
That was on my egos. That took like half its HP. Heart broken? Oh, I broke both their arms. That's cool. Damage.
They are now greatly crippled.
Alright, I can do all ego again. Nah. Just do damage. Let's just apply normal bleed with all of my attacks. 99 bleed already. I mean, I really close bleed. You are though. They dead? No? It's fine. I gotta do this. We get to win, right? Yay, I killed it! How good if I kill a boss? It just turns like a little egg.
Yeah, the truest probably.
An egg.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it says in like the first game.
Every Abner turns into an egg to avoid death.
Oh.
Yeah, it reverts to like a rumble form, so it doesn't die.
Dead.
Like if someone was about to die, so they came back into like an infant.
It's like the parents from Restaurant 2.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That one. I won't put that.
I'm still listening to this banger.
Right, this is my last one. Kavargani, Chris Ross.
Speaking of Risk of Rain 2,
That was good a minute.
you wanna hop on it?
What? What was going on? I'll play the screen up so I beat the location. Okay, so I see a Minotaur in that one and some glooby looking frog. Some with 3 heads and the same Minotaur. Some looking guy in a tree.
Refresh.
I can do that?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Gah!
Grubby.
Oh, that's what the glooby looking fellow is. It's the whale guy. Okay,
You should totally go slices and dices. Trust.
Am I gonna get cooked? Should I just do crushes and breakers? Is that better?
Zephyr, tell them what's in the slices and dices pack.
Well, I would have seen the fucking dimensional fucking guy again.
We got the Hat Man, the Barber, and this dimension.
I don't know.
So you have Wayward Passenger, you have a guy from I forgot which intervalo. I'm stupid. And then you have a boss from Kanto 7.
I just don't want spoilers for Don Quixote's thing. So I don't know. I'm gonna do crushes and breakers. That's a new one, and I'm curious. Okay. It's alright. Like, overrated if you ask me. Alright, question mark. That's a Minotaur. That's a bull, sorry. Oh, that's based off that one torture device. Or like the guy goes in the bowl and then they get heated up. I think that's what it's based off. I mean, one was really red and steamy. Now that it looks like guy screaming.
Based off of the Rusty Coin Ego gift. And the Stifled Rage.
Water? I can give him water.
No, oh wait. Just win the battle.
Nah, I want a bunny go gift. Oh, yeah. Nope. Okay, commence battle.
Oh.
Only one person got staggered from the unbreakable coin? Oh, hell yes.
Hell yeah.
Stream the Limbus.
Alright, Minotaur man. I'm not making you drink already. Okay, this is a what the flick frack? This looks sick. You know what? Secret ultimate move! All ego!
Oh, you're doing him.
Mm-hmm.
Is it spoiler for something?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes it is.
Is it dumb spoiler?
Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
I'm not looking. Don't say a word about it.
Oh.
Alright, ego time.
You have Fluid Sac Faust.
Wait, is this finally an enemy with a normal attack? With like a normal attack name? That's in a whole entire like haiku?
Wait,
It
what
just as
attack
bad.
that hit me? Oh wait, no, all of them are... Oh. Okay. Oh great. Unbreakable coin yet again. Yep. So fun. Please. Oh wait, I just realized. Yet again. Oh.
Don's getting staggered.
Yeah.
Did Dawn go to like a mental asylum or something? It feels like she would do that. Or she'd be a one.
I love this so much.
Oh, fuck.
Yep, just non-stop unbreakable coins.
It's
That was
a,
Yeah, that
I-
actually clash because it's done.
I would recommend resetting.
Yeah, like, bro, I just
Can I have a look at your team? Yeah, I'm just saying maybe he wants to bring Sancho.
He doesn't.
No. Okay. How many modules do you have?
Huh?
How many modules? In Catherine.
You can do 2 windows.
Get your IDs to max.
그래. 그렇게 시원하게 쳐버렸나. 어느 날이
Yeah, you can do it.
받아볼 테니.
Also, change your shit off of Chroma gang. All my homies hate Chroma. Also, go to... Wait, do you... To change your ticket? It's the paintbrush on the... you didn't press confirm.
예상한 것보다 움직임이 더 좋구나.
Evil confirm button.
Confirm.
Oh, they're gonna die. I think. Doing 67 HP. They're staggered. I'm just gonna damage and fuck them up.
Go to Luxray. Actually, go to Time Killing Time Reward Exchange.
살아갈 수 있겠구나.
He's gonna kill him. You are.
Never mind.
That was an
You
easy
can't die
boss.
7.
I'm lazy.
Oh, hey, you leveled up.
거예요? 다행이에요.
5 billion and Kevlin.
Hmm?
500 and Kevlin. Wow.
Wait, how many Enkefla modules do you have?
Not one of them. The thing leveled up.
Because you
You had
moved,
like 5 billion and Kevlin.
because you moved it out of the way so we could see. Oh, damn. Bro, it's like nothing. Lucky bastard.
Oh fuck! I didn't even. Oh.
After Otis, get Riosh. Sorry, get Donna. Yeah.
Yeah, she's max. She like has that one thing which puts her at max.
Oh, wait, yeah, she does.
Just one. Come on, please.
After Rhodia, either. Oh, yeah, no, Faust, yes, definitely.
Wait, check failed. Oh, I can't even do it if I wanted to. Okay.
And then after that, maybe go like Arcorp.
Should I try and level up this person?
Not now, you don't know enough. I've really got some pretty good ideas. Okay, you can do more activations to get Gia Ishmael up. Overall, you have a pretty good team.
명령대로 행한 것일 뿐.
Yeah.
좋아. 이걸로 성공한 임무만 90번이 넘었어.
You forgot Heathcliff.
I don't really use him that much anymore, but
Enter back into God to 7.
Right. Yeah.
Also check the Ryoshu.
It's mine.
Oh, what does every character in the ego from having like the same like red and white
Hold
like,
up, do you wanna
stripes,
borrow mine? I have
shirt?
better up ties.
Up tie head up. You want up tie?
She did it twice.
No, dude, I have like Contemptor or an up tie 4 gang.
Bro, it's a rupture team.
Yeah, but like, it takes less sanity.
Contemptor's whole thing is having, like, oh no, mine's first. Good thing.
And then also, like, I have Thoracalco, which is pretty
okay.
useful.
Yeah,
Also, I got this today. Wait. Oh wait. I forgot. Okay, I got the like the angel ego for this dude.
Pursuance.
Should I put this person back up?
You might wanna deploy yeah.
Should I do like this?
Sea branch first. Then Heathcliff and then Geo.
Like that?
And before you go, that's my Limbus front code.
What does poison even do? I need to check after this.
Crit.
Crit? No, I don't want to. I don't want to fight more of these fucking tiny guys. I don't want to fight them anymore. No. Why is there so much more we're gonna kill?
Is that fun?
So annoying.
You want to know how much like EXP stuff I have? 133 blue tickets, 33 gold tickets, and 71 silver.
Bit some change, kind sir.
However, I don't have ConQ.
And that is the one issue.
I'm literally saving my up-tie ticket for him, bro.
Dang.
What?
Saving an upside ticket is dedication.
He's the literal bad end ID for this season, bro.
Good point.
Also, I did the paid one pull earlier, and I got an ego.
Auntie, check test links over.
It shined gold.
Oh god. It shines
And I was like, yes, finally. And then I got Phil Bullets Yisang.
Oh boy, fell a bullet.
Which look, is a good ego. However,
On the contrary.
it is the only gold thing that has showed up on my entire 30 pulls on that banner.
Auntie.
And I am pissed. And sad.
Auntie.
Slash PS Wrath. Probably.
And
I'm not gonna stop calling you Auntie until you answer.
do you wanna know how many Honglu shards I have?
Oh god, how many?
Hello.
352.
Jesus.
I'm just waiting for the weekly. I cannot be fucked. Anyways, how close are you to Delta?
Probably near like the Star Seed and a bit of little golems.
You could probably do that. Oh, this guy tries to beat Conte 7.
Auntie.
But on the contrary.
소재가 준비됐어.
Hunter.
지휘를 받는 건 오랜만이네요.
소재가
Hunter, wake up.
주인놈 뜻에 따라
Hello.
Running the entire
One,
road.
2, 3, 4. We're swaying on horseback. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
A swing.
Oh, why does the Draco blocks look so, like, non-intelligent? It does not look sentient.
I'd save that skill 3.
Huh? Oh,
I'd say. Actually, no, do use it. Because, the way how she went. And unrelenting spell.
It's Hunter. Hunter disappeared.
That was good.
Hunter!
Oh my lord, so many people! What?
Check testing server now, buddy.
No!
Yes, because I've uploaded an DQ.
And put Q. Damn. 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 Oh, I'm so spoiled. Oh.
I accidentally spoiled it. Whoops.
Video?
VIDD. See, I get some fire on my for you. Is that Teto? Teto on W place.
Is this even like a thing, or is this a funny meme?
No, I goon.
What?
Anything schoonerable. I tapped my head.
Huh? I don't see what's done.
Ain't no way, buddy.
Oh no, I'll leave this. Actually, I'll leave this thingy. For
Why?
later. I don't know. Later.
Wait. You streaming still? Yeah. One got out.
괜찮은 공격이네요. 앞으로도 그렇게만 해주세요. 야음을 진짜.
Yeah, I want to watch me obtain Godhood and Risk of Rain 2 again.
Oh god.
감동적이지 않을 수 없네.
죄인인가?
다시 먹지.
아, 여기선 이런 공격이 잘 먹히는구나. 기쁨이란 건 이런 사소한 일에도 슬며시 따라오나 보다. 죄인인가? 없이가 일찍 끝날 것 같아.
이 거리는 충분해. 너한텐 멀겠지만.
좋은 성과를 갖고 돌아온다면 달고 작전을 준비하지.
알겠한 소통을 불가
시비 수백이
막아내지.
이하다.
Bro.
Honestly, you need fluid sac Faust, bro.
Need a heal. Need a heal.
Do you have Hex now, Rodian?
That was it.
Ew.
I'm pretty sure it was it.
Isn't this one? Yeah, but like the thing is,
It's almost it.
this dude.
하루가 저물어가는 동안
400.
기원을 가진 그대로 무너져라.
차포잡이라.
하류탄초
예상
경연이
것보다 운전이 더 좋구나.
여건에 가면 또 한참
하루가 저물어가는 동안
하리에게 해줄 이야기가 또 늘었군요. 가족을 위해
피날레를 시작하자.
Oh, what are some healing heroes? Besides full sack.
I've on those. Depending. That's cool.
Watch the stream.
Not watching.
40
Dear God, why are you claiming? What you
나라도 그렇게 했으면 좋겠지.
이 혈투를 승리로 이끌
이만하면 훌륭하군.
I mean, you could just shard water. Never mind. As a
떨거진 잘라낸 하류탄
I have boxes, but I'm safe.
yeah, man.
갈라지도록
Enough boxes.
How many boxes does he have?
38.
지금은 성공했지.
기쁨이란 건 이런 사소한 일에도 슬며시 따라오나 봐요. 모두가 노력한 덕분에 업무가 일찍 끝날 것 같은 지금처럼 말이에요. 나와!
지긋지긋한 전투가 드디어 하나 끝났네요.
사랑과 정의 이름으로 지금 이곳에 등장!
브레인인가?
꿰뚫려라!
너를 건드렸겠다.
이제야 실력을 좀 내시네요.
Fucking red-eyed him, bro.
Look at him.
Another one.
Oh, you need the money.
Boy, this is stage 1.
There's no need to consider one.
이 거리는 충분해. 너한텐 조금 멀겠지만.
Imagine running this one and like 2 honks.
Oh god.
적의 날개를 꺾었구나.
Because it's really just a spaceship.
힘껏 살아가느라 수고 많으셨어요. 이제 모든 짐 놓으셨으니 그 끝에 놓은 귀신.
But for some reason it has full damage.
잘라낸다. 한수를 경혈고 있는 라지.
Should I become a model? Just instantly.
또 한 번 막아.
That's a good cradle.
이번 막.
큰 흐름을 뒤집은 건 아니야.
Just imagine getting movement with this.
Oh god.
It's like it's very controllable.
드디어 하나 끝났네요.
What did we leave?
단장님은 매번 기발한 발상을 떠올리시는데
죽지 마.
One win every coin.
그래요. 그렇게 가면.
This is honestly just an overpowered mod.
괜찮아요.
I mean, I do have like exponential items, like at some point.
길을 열어놓은 푸름을 틔울 수
But like,
I am a spaceship.
items at the side.
약점을 잘 노리셨습니다. 해결사의
전부 막.
Bro, all of the items are green.
No thanks.
아름다운 춤을 추는 건 나쁜 여야 해.
I wanted white items.
발밑 잘라버리면
And that's every single chest. It ain't even worth going to the guy.
Believe in the wing beat.
저 행충들을 보려내. 못 찾게. 묘유.
Mew.
Oh damn. 600 damage hardly.
Oh my god, there's a shrine of chance.
허나 그를 깨우치지 못하면 풍전이 없겠지.
Bro, it just gave me 2 green items. Oh my, I think I've discovered something. It's either, oh no, I think I'm just, okay, never mind, was on an uneven thing. Because I currently have 18 shrimp.
또 한 번 막아내. 이번 막
Way to stack.
Fucking 2! Another green item. God forbid somebody asks for a common, bro. They're trying to stop me from gaining immortality.
Fluorescent ego spicebush. Jesus Christ, that is the name. That's a name. Ah, the railroad. Yeah, I'm running it with my. I've been doing this before.
Baba, please.
Baba Soul.
Okay.
Burger Soul.
Oh, no, he locked.
Everyone's fucking selling. I'll stream this shit so you don't have delay. That's like
It's dead anyways.
Guys, I want to go to
Nebulizer.
Pride you say? I wonder what I'm gonna run next part. Gulp. This boss never gave me an inkling of it. I mean, neither does me, but like...
Yeah, but just remember when I beat it, I was using like a pseudo burn team.
I'm gonna use something different.
Like, I'm pretty sure I was literally using the 2 stars, Ryoshu and Ryumaso. But like, now obviously I have actual stuff. After I get Honglu though, I'm gonna probably start finish off the Trump team. Yes.
Here comes the 4 to the
I just found an altar of gold, 2nd stage. Like, if I was doing the immortality stuff, I probably would have taken it.
Yeah.
But like, I got unlucky and didn't get any fucking items.
Yep, it's literally a guaranteed stagger. Oh, 2, even better.
Oh, I just realized if only I was using Sun, I could have gotten the achievement. Shame that I'm using an actual spaceship.
Input actual spaceship.
Uh oh. So I think you only get a certain amount of flight. Bro. Give me a normal fucking chest.
먹을 팍 물어버리자.
다들 첫 여정을 시작했을 때보다 정말 강해지셨네요. 내일 모아서
Okay. Are we dead ass?
Oh.
That's right, it just gave me another green item from a normal chest. I want the normal one. Please. I don't know, help me.
이 거리는 충분해. 너한테.
Howie, turn this into a chick flick.
I think you
I
forget the
fucking
fact
hate unbreakable coins.
you're playing Railway. Of course everything's gonna be terrible.
Fair point. He's gambling heavily. Why the fuck is he eating?
Who's he going?
Fucking Heathcliff.
Bones? No, Sun.
No.
Yeah, Sun. What?
Sanyata. My brother in Christ, that shit's still gonna do damage.
I just died. Wait, what?
You know what I mean?
Oh,
Um,
my god.
Yeah, you got
Why is Honglu on?
Wait, so Honglu's ego just kind of sucks then?
Which one?
The new one.
In,
No, it
Does he
doesn't
do it
also.
when he gets back?
Oh, he doesn't when he dies.
He does this big old thing where he's about to die.
Yeah, like
Yeah, he
the
was
ego
at like
left.
one.
Like if he reaches 1 HP, he
But
does
he's-
the
he's got
ego.
that-
But since you have the ID, he survives.
He just lives.
Yeah, he heals as well. But like,
He literally says, "What if I like live?" Another
bro,
void
like
cradle.
I hate unbreakable coins.
David and I like that.
Got tried. Needle take. Another green item. Bye. Please.
Honestly. Honglu gets stabbed in the chest.
And also, it's better to use the corrosion.
I
So,
can't afford the
overclock.
corrosion. I'm in a mirror. Sorry, I'm in a railroad.
Ah, damn.
My sin affinities and resources are like
Gang, can I please stop getting this stuff? What I find out interesting is it doesn't actually let you use playback in Risk of Rain mod unless you have teammates.
oh.
Because I mean, to be fair, it is just you dying.
Yeah, I couldn't for one fucking gloom. You're telling me there's an episode to use fucking Fergie Lily. My eyes are not doing that. Level 6. Oh, level 6.
I've gotten the same amount of commons as I have uncommons.
Okay, so we have a major issue, that's fucking blind obsession. There is not many things that can outroll blind obsession.
I think you just got a killer.
I could just... Yeah, I could just do this money.
Yeah, the ego gets countered by the spear thing.
Yeah. else there was people lower than die for the cause. Not died. Yes, Hong Lu. Have all unbreakable and roll +5 on your coins.
이제야 실력을 좀 내시네요.
I'm gonna just try this another day.
모든 결과들은
Do you have Risk of Rain?
괜찮은 공격이네요. 앞으로도 그렇게만 해주세요.
빈틈투성이네.
Does thou risk
What
of thine
do you
rain?
mean she didn't stagger yet?
The
There was
blind
2
obsession.
things hitting her. Both would have done well more than fucking 60 health.
보스에서 회고해야지 않겠는가?
I think it's over.
No.
Oh, damn.
One person was staggered.
Did she use
One person, yeah. Did nothing.
Strange. Usually it just nukes everything.
Okay, that did.
거치
Hey Hong Lu, roll a 30. Never mind. Oh my god, you killed the other guy so that Faust can just blow their ball off.
Anyways, I learned my lesson last time to giving lunar equipment to a drone. I gave it the missile launcher instead.
Oh, fair enough.
It's now killing everything. It is okay. Equipment drones are overpowered.
Hello?
Hello.
Zava?
Yeah, that's what you need.
저기는 땅에 떨어져.
What? I don't need anything. I was gonna ask you a question.
What's the question?
So about this game.
The one I'm playing?
No, the one I was talking to you about in school. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Play with me. I wanna tickle your pickle violently.
I'm streaming and then I'm getting off to there for go eat fucking dinner.
Ah, almost said a racist slur.
And then the Delta grind.
Okay, my bad. I'll leave you be. I almost said a racist slur. I held back. Are you proud of me?
Yes, I'm proud. So proud.
Okay, thank you.
That was the shitting me game.
Of course, they have to roll all fucking. Oh, I didn't stack a piece. I saw I stack a piece. Did you just unfucking stack it?
빈틈투성이네.
Okay, that's a max rolling this shy clearing. That's
좀 전에 위대한 일격을 기록하는 중이라네. 이따가
Okay, so why did Sky kill bro?
whatever.
Are you sure you want to do railway?
Yes. Do a railway.
You don't even get anything for this, do you?
No, I just want to make my score lower. Pretty.
What is your score?
Like 50s. I can make that way lower.
Yeah, but it doesn't even exist anymore, does it? You can't even get it updated.
Yeah, I can.
Oh, really?
Pretty sure you can keep updating it until like it ends.
I'm pretty sure they found it like original like 7.
Gregor, you're rolling the 3? Gregor!
Should I take the blue portal or the gold portal?
Up to you.
Now what do you think?
Get the gold.
But apparently not, here I come. Because then green is the other one.
Yeah.
That's a false zone. I walked the path of the false zone.
Of course there's magic bullet. And of course it rolled a fucking 17.
Did roll tails though.
It rolled tails, so. Oh. Hong Lu, you're getting mighty low.
보스에서 회고해야지
Should we change that? Okay. What do you mean the
I
magic
really
bullet
like the
is-
lore of Risk of Rain. You right?
It's magic bullet. The ego.
Oh.
It is rolling. A 34 or 35. It is a 50-50. And if I lose, I die. So I have one option here, and that is to offload it. Which is so dumb to do, but I have no option. Because this will die.
I trust Gregor will tank it.
Gregor cannot tank it. They already have one magic bullet, the next one I'm pretty sure is... I don't know. Plus you're using the wrong grenade. Oh my god, this is the most fucked one ever. Turn a twig.
Oh yeah, I forgot green portals existed around Unite.
Oh, that good.
I concede.
They're not dead. Oh damn, they hit Honglu. I'll try to, on the contrary, I'm gonna do the end and everyone's going to die.
Oh, wait, there's no more enemies spawning. Oh no. Can't get any more money. Oh. I just missed out on like 5 chests.
Damn, you're using the funny move on the guy who can't die.
Wait a second. Isn't literally the false sun altars just infinite items with exponential on?
I mean, pretty sure.
Because you can turn one common into a double of... Oh yeah, it is.
I'm in Railroad and I just watched his Honglu's ego. It did more than 1,000 damage.
Bomboclet.
And there is still one guy left. Of course, he's using fucking Capote.
Capote.
The highest rolling ego in the fucking game.
Wait, really? How does it roll?
45.
How does it roll? Oh, Jesus.
45.
Not as high as Wolrock's Holiday though.
Still 45.
Wait, no. That is as high as...
지긋지긋한 전투가 드디어 하나 끝났네요.
욕좀.
불가 위야 막아내지 못하리.
Highest rolling ego in the game. Average yield of my flesh reaction.
I'm intrigued at the yield.
Gambling isn't worth it. It just took everything I fucking had.
어떤 상황이 닥쳐와도 포기한 이건 못하겠습니다. 너무 유치하잖아요.
I wonder how the next DLC for Risk of Rain's gonna be. Cause like, it looks pretty good.
It does.
I feel like Gearbox finally like locked the fuck in. And the fact that they got mod devs.
They got the people holding up.
Cause then they literally get the Desert Star Storm.
Are you sure?
what I love about Risk of Rain is just how easily moddable it is. Like, you know, I don't know how hard it is to mod for this game, but like, I know at least you're not working with vanilla Minecraft. Fucking do if villager die, it will art me up.
Oh my god. How you have staggered the boss before he could even change phases.
어차피 먹을 이길 거라고 확신하고 있을 테니까.
Fantastica.
The boss is gone. Thou to turn them into Chick-fil-A.
I remember when like the couple first of like runs I did, for some reason I wanted to stack up damage crystals.
God.
They're absolutely arse if you don't know.
Yeah.
For anybody watching.
Because it just increases range, it doesn't increase the damage up. Right?
No, it's damage up only in like really short distance.
Oh yeah, isn't the damage?
It's like, and then I'm pretty sure I went to Mithrax and got fucked. Because I didn't know how to play the game back then.
Oh yeah, it's stuck at 13 meters and the damage goes up, but the range doesn't. So you're stuck at like a stupidly low range.
Yeah.
Oh no guys, it's a... Wait.
What, is this some kind of Risk of Rain?
Can I change my setup when I just entered for a second?
I will say, the soundtrack for this game is so peak. But also what I really like is when developers add custom dialogue for bosses, for characters. Because like there's a whole one for the Red Mist. And then like False Sun said, so you are the son of Sparta, for the Dante. What also is really cool when normal bosses become regular enemies.
저주를 끼얹을 것이
full setup. Smoke the shit out of Rosen.
And also Shrimp is just so peak.
단순해서 좋군 구벌 수감자. 물론 좋은 성과를 갖고 돌아온다면 달고 짭짤한 걸 준비해두지.
That's 3 red items, isn't it? That's a scam. Oh no, that's common. Anyways, let the bullshittery begin.
Huzzah!
You totally show chat so they know how to obtain immortality. Hello chat, today we're going to be learning how to obtain immortality. So, first prerequisites. Have the Artifact of Command and Artifact of Exponentiality on. Second, get a bunch of teddy bears or something else to just keep you alive. Third of all, either get to a Luna or go to the Prime Meridian. 3. Obtain infinite items.
Become immortal.
No, let's go. I'm just gonna get some leave badges. And then you can come over here and just spam red items. Because it's totally. First of all, I'm gonna get a bunch of red mist.
자, 어느 쪽일지 잘 생각해보라고.
And there we go. Now every single time I hit an enemy, if they can even survive, they'll be locked.
그렇게 시원하게 처리하고
I don't stack too many booms.
일 처리는 빠르게 하는 편이 나라도
It's like I kind of still want them to live at least once.
길을 열어라.
세븐 포텐셜.
이거리면 충분해. 너한텐 정말겠지만.
Oh god.
감동적이지 않을까?
So I may call this cheating, and in response to that, I say yes.
The answer? Yes.
Yo, look how speedy. No.
So it doesn't really matter when. But they know that.
아직 죽지 마라.
그간의 전투 경험이 쓸모가 없잖아.
What the fuck? I went to use the reuse and she just didn't. It cancelled it. What the fuck?
저런 광대 노름은 압도적인 힘 앞에서 그저
The game is
멍직거리는
clapping. Her support is clapping.
I got an idea. I'm gonna get multiple uses of equipment. I know that's hard light thing, isn't it? Sorry, that's.
Probably.
Oh wait, no, that's utility skill. That's my barrage of missiles.
Oh no.
It's Lysate cell that adds.
목을 떨궈주마.
Okay, well, now that I've literally just achieved godhood.
Damn, Greg, I didn't have to do 260 damage and he fucking well.
저들의 약점이 뻔히 보이는 게로군.
For a second, I thought all the exploding was your team dying.
Where is it? I saw final power stuff. Wow.
Who wins, False Sun or Itty Bitty Spaceship?
숨겨둔
Gold.
수를 드러내는
The Itty Bitty Spaceship has a gun.
We are ending the entire other team.
Never mind, the shrimp just did 19 million.
So we're ending the entire other team by just doing an ego.
더럽혀진 몸은 모를 하나조차 없.
His tears of charge blood does all too much damage, especially when I just got the thing that makes 30% more damage to blood.
Oh my god, my drones inherit my shrimp.
예상한 것보다
Oh
오직
god.
You know what I'm gonna put in there?
What?
What? I can't put shrimp? I'm so sad. This is so tragic.
여기선 이런 공격이 잘
Suppose I'll put Sail Star then. Now leave. Can I beat death? I did not beat death. That is one thing.
I forgot Greg is a model.
Bishop can do.
Fucking die, Gregor.
Anyways, you should have a look at the skins for it.
저희를 헤아릴 수 없다면 그 이유를 고민하는 것이 상식이다.
Wiki peek. I wish there was more like Risk of Rain skin for this guy.
저 해충들을 도려내라.
I need to do stuff on Seeker.
죽어라.
bigger percentage.
Yeah, I see. I need to do that. I really do like the Unchained False Sun skin though. It's really nice. House. Fiend. My goat, Railgunner. Bitch. Only unlocked you for the achievement. That is not distorted yarn.
It's not distorted yarn.
Whoop whoop. Decided to police big ass hammer. Lucky actual good thing. Bandit, hunk.
Me when they tell me, yeah, you'll get 1 to 3 hunk power. Yeah, I got fucking 9. Okay, and then for this person it's 8. You're slaughtering them. I'm about to stagger the fucking priest. It is the first turn. This is railroad.
Hunk. Hunk is so big.
Okay, every time I go to reuse, the game stops me. And it also stops my assist defense. The game forcibly isn't letting me kill the boss. This is not okie dokie.
Oh no. I thought you could still get that sidearm from Drop Pod. But Drop Pod does not exist. However, we still have an ATM for. Have you seen some stuff you can like get with Hunk? Like some of the guns?
Fucking crazy.
Like, have you seen the railgun?
I think.
It's in the Sicker Kill 'em.
I have killed the priest second turn.
I'm gonna get off Risk Around. You wanna play anything after you're done with that? Oh my days, Honglu is going to fucking die.
Yes, but the good thing
Wait a second.
is that this will be staggered very soon.
Yeah, but it would have been good to try do that starter next.
No, but then... Either way, Honglu's dying pretty fucking soon.
Oh, hey, we got the things for Blue Branch and
Oh, should we look
U Branch. Yeah, no, it's Burn Rupture and Rupture Trauma.
Actually, a bigger thing. Boggle notes.
Ah. You're right. Oh my god, somebody has made something atrocious.
Event unlock conditionals. Just finish.
Unlock?
Yeah, you can unlock them, blah blah. Cultivation minigame. Yes.
Holy shit, it exists.
It's a fucking thing. Oh my god.
I thought it was gonna be an
Midterm.
LCC checkup situation.
Wait. First midterm, second midterms means like a couple months. Oh my god, there's a floor pack for it.
Wait a second. Zephyr? You know I said it would be a cool thing if instead of Honglu using it this turn, it used it next turn?
Now, have you heard of the fun fact called they can't do the move if the boss is dead?
Yeah, no, you kill the boss, and then you use it next turn 1
Yeah.
roses.
You can take 3 classes a day and you have a total of 30 class days. This is beautiful.
이거리는 충분해. 너한텐 조금 멀겠지만
Oh wait,
괜찮은
Sinclair.
공격이네요. 앞으로도 그렇게만 해주세요.
You still alive?
What?
He
No.
He took 145 damage from the fucking status effect.
I might be able to create a clip of it on Twitch.
Maybe. Oh no, I did it fast enough. It'll bring Zichun's and
Oh, 145. Oh my god.
yeah, he's gonna do it this time. Also, have you cared to notice he has the max stack of Tarnished Blood? Have you also cared to notice
Max stack
3%
of...
damage per Tarnished Blood?
And he's... got in the... Does he have Heat Me? Oh, he doesn't have Heat Me.
Yeah, but you know what's even cooler? Wait, that
You can use the Corrosion.
the corrosion doesn't even do more damage per thingy. This does by a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, but... yeah, but like, you can still do
Last
that.
one.
Because of the buffs that he gets, and it's going to be better than a skill 1.
Lasso. Fast. Have you cared to notice? Whoopity woppity woo. That's good. Okay, well, class outcomes. The higher morale, the higher chance for a successful class. Over 2 days you'll be able to take midterms or sparring matches. Once they're done, the minigame, any history from your previous minigame will be deleted. Ouch.
What?
Oh, he did early. He did it a lot earlier.
이 한 몸 바쳐 땅으로 모든 피 쏟아내리.
Well, now you can't use... Wait, do you have Dimension Shredder? Do you have Dimension Shredder on thing?
Yeah.
Does he keep the stacks?
No.
The flower?
피가 아무리
For reference.
약점을 잘 노리셨습니다.
I don't know if he keeps... I think it consumes all stacks when he uses it. Ouch. Let's go back to this. Failing a midterm does not affect your blah blah. Same old event stuff. Event
So is this
units.
literally just G-Chun stat training
If
simulator?
you have Zichun,
저기요.
ready, you get more
움직임이
resources.
멈췄는데 괜찮으신가요?
What the fuck? Okay, the 40% bonuses. The new Yi Sang, the new Sinclair, and family heir Ishmael. You wanna know what the 20% bonuses are?
Actually,
Every Sinclair.
what?
I'm not even joking. LCB Sinclair is there.
What?
Every possible Sinclair there is an option.
What? Why didn't they do the high shoe?
No, the high show is there. I lied. It's
Right.
just Sinclair. Because Sinclair is the one doing the fights as well. Compared to...
It's just Sinclair.
It's just Sinclair.
김박질 춤.
The max bonus is 100. So, any Sinclair plus the 2 new things. Actually. Anyways, the boss is coming down peacefully. Blah 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 blah. Now we go into the actual fun part. Scheduled FMs. Always better to look at every notice.
이거리는 충분해.
I forgot you have YouTube channel, don't you?
Yeah, put the VOD up. Gulp guys, Adept Yi Sang is a season 6. Well, what's the best option here? Go with the option. 1 second. 400 roses. The fight. What does the check do again? 2-2.
I would do lower defense but raise.
Yeah, it's 1-1. The other ones are like 2 protection and 3 protection, which are shitty options.
Isn't there like a 2 attack damage up for 2 protect? Oh yeah, you got it. Anyways, it's fucking dead.
I'll choose a guarantee that. Mine. Which is real high.
Skill 2 rolls higher than a counter.
We're gonna stick here. And all that aren't hitting will go there. Yeah, read this, blah blah. Target Ishmael. Nice. Blah blah, this is gonna be the single thing thing. New announcer. You can get from literally everything. Ready was content.
What's the announcer?
It's way and way. We've done several issues that there were several engagements in which transactions don't match the actual behavior of the. What do you mean?
우와, 저건 어떻게 하는 걸까요? 역시 홍원 바깥은 신기한 것들로 가득 차 있네요.
I think the final encounter of the event's gonna be hard.
Gain poise equal to rupture on target. Gain poise equal to rupture on target and +1 count. Nice. Gain count. Bajao banana bolus. The fuck is that? Give me a second. No fucking way. Dichun has a fucking passive. You wanna know what's called?
What?
Mao Jiao banana balls. Banana. I only realized that because I was reading the change notes for the next update. But fix the combat type, no offense to the effect, it was not working as intended.
Honestly, kind of disappointed that we don't get gain from the other high shoe. I'm not so the fucking Sinclair trolling us. But this also means that you have to get all of the 40% to get the 120 boost.
Yeah.
Which is fucking annoying because 2 of them are new and I'm knowing my fucking I am getting all that.
Blah blah, change stuff with it. Blah 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 blah.
However, I do like how they're changing the thing where event IDs that you can get for free after. Oh no.
What do you mean everyone's fucking dying? I clashed every attack.
I wouldn't worry about it because you have more high shoe to bring in, yeah?
Oh, that boy. Probably, kill the boss. Oh no, the boss is dead.
It's dead, it's dead, it's dead.
Zichun, kill it. Yeah! You did good.
Okay, now go back into back up. I feel like you could have cut down the turn time a lot.
I am not fixing that. New kid just dropped, don't know how I feel about the new ninjas. Calling them ninjas is goofy.
Ninjas?
Yeah, but I showing them ninjas. Okay, English versions, let's look at the saying. We've guessed Tremor. Tremor bind? If they're faster, gain coin power. Yes, Strider. Okay, they get haste, it seems. Down travel. Coin power. Blah blah. Off. Okay, so he doesn't have conditionals where he has to have a certain amount of speed. It's how much faster he is from the target. Cavalry thingy.
You know that like ticket gift which just applies a fuck ton of bind. Warning notice.
Oh yeah. God, add this amount of line breaker. Convert all coins to unbreakable. Inflict concussion. This is getting too 4 coin unbreakable. Commanding cry to all allies. What am I hearing? Concussion. That's a decent amount of tremor burst. That's a decent amount of tremor and rupture and holy shit. Okay, and the next turn remove 1.
So what I'm hearing is Wei was an absolute sick one.
Wei was built different. Also, thank you to the viewer who told me about that. Okay, let's look at this thing. 3 coins skill 1 is kind of cool. Blood Flame. If they have less than this amount of HP, you reuse. He's meant to take damage.
I know we got another
4
fucking
coin?
Sinclair wants to kill himself.
All about 4 coin? If they have...
Wait, he has... Wait, he has 0.
I'm reading him. If he has...
This is a pretty...
amount of HP or he has Blood Flame, convert all to unbreakable. Okay, what the fuck?
Can I be real with you?
What?
This looks more like a 2-star than a 3-star.
Oh, you looked at the entire kit?
It doesn't have like a... that's why it's an unfocused block volley. Wait. Unfocus?
Unfocused volley. You mean this man has attack whip? Kidding me. Deal gluttony damage and then more gluttony damage. Is blah blah Brewster on use? That's sad. If the target has blah blah base power blah blah coin power blah 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 blah. When activating. When activating blah blah, the Hongyuan Honglu gains the following effect. When inflicting rupture, potency or count, inflict burn. Gain blood flame the moment it comes back from substituting or returning. Blah blah, inflict. If they have rupture, have a chance to inflict burn. If they have burn, if this unit has burn, again, what the fuck? That's a lot of buffs. And then gain more shift for the amount of health they don't have. Oh, what the fuck? Blah 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 blah. More burn and rupture. Heal SP upon staggering or killing. The SP max gain haste and shit. Where's the other part? I need the rest. I need a there we go. Getting passives. Linebacker. Gain linebacker when meeting one of the conditional. They are faster by this certain amount. They trigger a tremor burst twice with one of their skills. Or they win a clash while having Strider. When this unit has shield. Fuck you mean he gets shield? Oh my god. Lord Hyung, the Lord gets fucking on hit with base skills last coin. Trigger tremor burst. If family hierarchy candidate isn't activate the following. When blah 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 inflict structure blah blah. That unit gains poise. Okay, give them poise, cool. Right. Then start. Apply blah blah. Attack power up to family hierarchy candidate. They spelt Ishmael wrong. Kim Ji-hoon, where's the money? Guys, they spelled Ishmael like Ishmael. There's blah blah, attack more. After they use this. Oh, cool, assist attack. Okay, some crazy assist passives. Strider, gain haste and aggro. Inflict the stack tremor potency against the main target before an attack. Line breaker, gain stack time something shield. At max gain power if they took damage from a single skill. If they took a bunch of damage from a single skill, gain protection. Concussion, multiply the amount of stagger threshold. Multiply the amount of stagger threshold raised and rupture damage dealt against this unit. I have this much. Rounded down, okay, that's... Commanding cry again. Fuck. Jesus Christ, what they give this man crack? They gave him crack. I'm not even joking, they gave him crack. They gave the Yiseng crack, and I'm gonna stare. Oh. The Sinclair was done. People have already found spelling mistakes. Trust me, director. The managers are gonna love using Hongwu and Burn, said the soon-to-be fired PM intern. Who did the last one? Oh wow, I really did fuck up. We're gonna hold Blue out of here. Okay, let's find a Limbus player. Oh no. There's not that many. What kid is this guy on? What? Did bro just start the game? No, is this... Oh, warp train. Okay, that's a potential. That's... 3. Okay, they have not finished the... Kanto... Fuck. If I can find. What's this one? What is this one? Are they doing a mirror dungeon? Or are they doing time killing time? No way they're on counter 4. Oh, Hydra like that? Oh, I should check the levels. If oh. Let's go with the warp train guy. Okay, we're gonna warp train on this guy. So, don't spoil. If you spoil, I will send you to the depths of Hongyun. Let's all say hi, be nice. Yeah. Where are they?